Russia's war in Ukraine is now entering a third winter and appears to be locked in a frozen stalemate. What does Donald Trump's victory in the US election mean for both sides? And are peace talks now more likely? Hello and welcome to Roundtable. I'm Enda Brady. For this special edition of the programme, I've come here to the London home of Russia's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Andrei Kelin. Ambassador Kelin, thanks again for your time. We have a lot to discuss. Give us your impression of Donald Trump's victory in the recent US election.
Our impressions has not yet been formulated. And I will say that we read, of course, we are impressed about speculations that every day we are seeing in the press and by some experts and all of that. But of course, we are going to judge future presidency of Mr. Trump by actions, not by the statements that has been also done during his election campaign. What we know about him, it is we are judging, of course, by his previous term, and this term has signaled us that has done a lot of damage to the security, because he has withdrawn from intermediate range missiles, nuclear missiles treaty, INF treaty. He put on the brink of disaster of the strategic treaty, which has really been nearly has been abandoned. He has introduced lots of sanctions against Russia during this term. So these are deeds, what we know. Of course, we took note of his declarations, statements about Russia, about the crisis in Ukraine. We took note that he knows the genesis of the crisis, and this is inspiring. But of course, we will see what he is going to do in his initial steps. We will make assessment of that, and we will see which elements are not only good for United States, but also good for us, and then we will make our judgment.
Is he someone Russia can do business with?
I would say at the moment, because Mr. Trump keeps silence. He is busy with his nominations of his team, of course, formulation of his policy internally. But we do not yet have contacts with either with him or with his team, so we do not know. Let us put it like that. And I also will say that the current course of the US administration did not change. In fact, they want a strategic defeat of Russia. This does exist. It is now the goal of the national policy of the United States, and they continue to follow it.
And tell me, there was a report last week that Trump and President Putin had spoken by telephone. Was that true? Has there been any contact?
It is not. It was not true. It has been said that there was no contact so far, and there is no plans either to have a telephone conversation or a personal meeting.
There seems to be mutual respect between Putin and Trump. What is it about Donald Trump that Russia likes?
Mr. Putin has expressed himself that he likes very much the courage of the president, especially when he became a target of an ostensible assassin or actually a coup on him, and he behaved very courageous, of course. And I think that in these words and this formulation, there was a high estimation of his behavior at this episode.
And as we're into the last few weeks of the Biden administration, give us your assessment of the last 4 years under Joe Biden.
Joe Biden has contributed seriously to the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, to the enlargement of Ukrainian conflict by supplying weapons, by leading, of course, Western world and Western countries against Russia. This was all-out war. A hybrid war against our country. So we consider himself as an adversarial administration, of course.
So you blame Biden for worsening the situation, even though Russia went to war with Ukraine, you believe Biden contributed?
Well, we have had a good chance not to start the war in April 2022, when we conducted negotiations with Ukraine, and we were close to an agreement. But then later on, people like Prime Minister of Britain, like Mr. Borrell, like also Mr. Biden, of course, they have said that it should be decided on a battlefield. So it is now being decided on the battlefield.
So Russia, in summary, Russia is glad to see the back of Joe Biden.
At the back, you mean the
To say goodbye to him, yeah.
To say goodbye to him. I think that many people in the United States as well will be glad to see that the president, which is in fact is not very capable to lead in any affairs, let it be foreign or internal affairs, will leave. Because you need a strong leader, you need a competent personality. Biden, of course, was a competent personality, but as for serious decision that he can make in this difficult situation, we do not see any improvement in his doing. We do not predict anything about that. We did also have some aspirations during his initial term in the beginning, because he was saying good words, but then later on he has been put in a situation when he couldn't do anything positive about making our relations better. So this might happen anytime. I can envisage a kind of a large-scale provocation, like it has happened before, like Bucha, like anything Malaysian aircraft that can be especially designed for the purpose of his initial good intention, which will undermine and undercut his initial intentions.
Let's talk about the war in Ukraine. What's your assessment of the situation on the ground right now as we speak?
Right now, and even today, I can say that the military advancement on our part and liberation of the territories are proceeding quicker and quicker. It is becoming, we are gaining, not gaining, but we are liberating more and more terrain. In October, it was twice as much as June and July, previous months, because the resistance of Ukrainian forces is becoming less serious. They are short of reserves, trained reserves, of course, not short of weapon. Weapon is sufficient, supplies are continuing, and they continue to do it. But we are continuing every day movement from the east to the western borders of these four regions, and this is continuing. So as long as it can continue long.
You've said to me previously on Roundtable, your words, you said nothing can stop us. Is that still your view?
Nothing what?
Nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop Russia.
No, of course. Well, I wouldn't say so. Yes, this is a very populated area. It has a lot of villages, small towns, a lot of defensive constructions that has been built by Ukrainian forces, Ukrainians, during the recent 2 to 3 years in it. So the advancement is slow because of that, of course. But it continues. So we have an overwhelming, of course, this is not a numerical superiority, but in equipment, in preparation of of our troops, of course, we have a serious superiority on that.
And just looking at the situation in Ukraine, a lot of reports about 10,000 North Korean soldiers now operating in the Kursk region of Russia, helping Russian troops, fighting for Russia effectively. A lot of people felt that this was a desperate move by Russia.
Well, I have seen these reports, but I can tell you also that I follow very closely those military experts and observers that are watching the situation over there. They did not discover anything. I looked also this morning, where did it come from? I can tell you that in Kursk region, the situation at the moment is very statical. So there is no serious movement on this side or this side. After we have captured half of terrain that has been previously captured by Ukrainian, so it is now just cut by half. So the weather conditions, especially, and other factors, they do not allow quick movements above the region. But in general, we are keeping lots of well-trained Ukrainian reserves in Kursk region, if they like to sit over there, and they cannot be in the battle in Donbass, which is now the main point of war.
What do you say to people who argue that Russia is wrong to bring North Korean troops to the battle?
It is very far from. It is very far from the reality. We are not short of the personnel over there, because personnel is. They are volunteers mainly. They are contractors. We do not have the usual conscripts, so they are far away from the front lines. And so, believe me, we are strong enough to bring another additional forces from Korea. I don't believe in this. Of course, I have seen reports, but I don't believe.
So you don't think there are, just to be clear, Ambassador, you don't think there are North Korean troops?
I simply do not comment on this side because I do not know. I know that we have a treaty with North Korea. We have an Article 4 which stipulates that we will help each other in case of aggression against anyone, but we do not comment on what we are doing inside this article, within this article.
And just one final point on this. A lot of commentary surrounds the deal between Russia and North Korea, saying that Russia receives North Korean soldiers in return for helping Pyongyang with technology and rocket technology and satellites in particular. Was that the trade-off?
This is a question which our spokesman, Mr. Peskov, is addressing to the Ministry of Defense, so not to me, of course.
Okay, Ambassador, we'll move on. As we talk about the war in Ukraine, this was supposed to take a matter of days. It was called a special military operation. We're now heading into a third winter. This is dragging on, and would you agree that it is hurting the Russian economy and its people?
Well, it is dragging on mainly because Western countries, US, UK, and the others, they are supplying lots of weapons and lots of money to Ukraine. It is, of course, not a source which will never end. But for the moment, I can say that it is only the only reason that it is dragging on. It is because of these supplies and because of financial inputs that are continuing. It is the problem of Ukraine that it is short of their own resources, and especially people's resources. They are coming to a certain limit of that. And besides, of course, it's very heavily populated area, as I said, lots of villages and lots of it. As for the blow to our economy, I don't see any at this. The Prime Minister Mishustin yesterday said that during 3 quarters of these years, the growth of our economy, the GDP is 4%. So this is impressive, I will say.
And just looking at the situation on the ground now in Ukraine, do you feel it's time to talk peace?
Well, we can talk peace. We can start to talk peace a day when Ukraine will withdraw from 4 regions that people of this region decided to be part of Russia. As soon as Ukraine will withdraw its troops from this region, as soon as they stop shooting, we can start negotiations. However, what we are seeing on the part of Ukraine, they still do not propose any peace plan, and they stick to the well-known 10 points plan, which includes actually surrender by the Russian forces, withdrawal of the Russian forces, submission of our president and high authorities to the International Criminal Court, and all this nonsense, which has nothing to do with the real situation on the ground.
Would Russia be prepared to end this conflict on the terms that you keep what you have gained in battle so far? All of the land that Russia has seized from Ukraine. Ukrainians obviously will say no, but would that be acceptable to Russia?
Not only. We have formulated quite clearly our goals and our demands here that Ukraine should be neutral and non-nuclear, of course, that all racial and discriminatory laws should be abolished in Ukraine, and human rights of all nationalities, including Russians, should be reinstalled once again. This is number 2, and of course, sanctions should be abolished. What else? And the new territorial realities should be recognized.
So that would mean Ukraine giving up Donetsk, Luhansk, Russia keeping Crimea?
No, not only. That includes Kherson and Zaporozhye areas. People of these areas has held a referendum some time ago, and they have expressed the desire to be part of Russia.
Many people there felt those referenda weren't fair and that they were pressured to vote in that way.
No, is it your opinion? Have you seen this, the pressure? I have not. And actually we have a lot of judgment that it was absolutely, the percentage was different in all the areas, but that was fair, nobody was pressing them, and it was a pretty fair voting, I will say, of people who expressed the desire in accordance, since they did not actually agree with coup d'etat that has happened in Kiev in 2013 exactly, and they did not recognize the new government in Kiev. They did not recognize nationalist ruling Ukraine, and the desire is just to not to live in this country.
Has Russia been surprised by the defense Ukraine has put up, just how strongly they have fought?
I have already mentioned that these defense efforts that are being done by Ukraine was not possible at all without huge help from Europe, European countries and United States, with finance, with the armament, with inspiration to continue war. This is what a bit surprised us, of course. We could have resolved the issue long before that.
Ambassador, if we look as well at President Trump coming in, there was a lot of concern in Western political circles that President Trump may withdraw support for Ukraine. Is that something that Russia would like to see happen, that America steps back from supporting Zelensky in Ukraine?
No, that will be a positive sign, of course. I mean, we are judging now by, not judging, but we are just watching what is happening with the nominations in the Trump administration, if the rumors are true. So the main proponents of continuation of war was Mr. Pompeo, for instance, and Nikki Haley. We know these people quite well. They are hawkish, of course, but what's going to happen with the new nominees, if confirmed by the Congress and all of that stuff, and if the new president will have really capabilities to rule foreign policy, not like it has happened before. So probably we will see and we will analyze, of course, and if these positive statements that has been done will come into realization, then we will listen to that and we will judge, we will make our own judgment. But nothing will stop us from proceeding in Ukraine to reach our goals.
Donald Trump is on record as saying that day one of a new Trump presidency, he would end the war in Ukraine. Do you believe him?
No, he may have made many statements. He has said that he needs only 24 hours in settlement. He will do this before he will get into the office and all of that stuff. To believe in what? In his capabilities to do that? I do not know, because the case is very complicated. I know that the prime ministers of Britain, of President of France, they are now going to Brazil for G20 in order to persuade President Biden to release a lot of money and a lot of weapons before he will quit the office. So there are many factors over there. Also internal factors in US internal policy. Of course, there are different opinions over there.
In terms of peace talks, if they do happen next year, who would you like to see as a mediator, as a negotiator, someone that would be trusted by both Russia and Ukraine to sit down and end the conflict?
I don't think that we need a mediator over there or someone that will go between. We need just a fair approach to these negotiations. There are several initiatives that has been done. There is a Chinese-Brazilian initiative, for instance. You know that there is a group of friends that has been established in United Nations that includes many other countries. Turkey has come also with the initiative, but you know, all of them, they are talking about territories, about cessation of fighting over there. Two elements are missing in all this initiative. One is that abolishment of racial segregation, in fact, in Ukraine, human rights reestablishment of Russians over there, which is important. And second, that we do not need a temporary cessation of hostilities. We need an overall settlement, durable, long-term, and reliable. So this is the purpose of it. 24 hours or half a year is not sufficient. We do not want Ukraine to be rearmed by the others and renewal of fighting once again on the new level.
So, in Russia's ideal world, Ukraine would be neutral, Ukraine would give up its weapons.
Non-nuclear, of course.
Non-nuclear, give up its land that Russia has already taken from it. President Zelensky would obviously have to step down.
I didn't say that. This will be that will be decided in elections.
Ukraine would not be able to join NATO, and
Ukraine will not be able to join NATO into this NATO that we are seeing right now. It is hostile NATO.
And Ukraine would not be welcome to join the European Union?
This question is more difficult. I will say, as for the current policy of the European Union, it does not deviate from the policy of NATO. So that depends. But at the same time, I will say that the European Union, it is not about defense. It is more about economic cooperation, political cooperation, economic cooperation. There are voices, of course, about establishment of the regular European army. They are voicing this issue as long as I'm working for 40 years or something more. It does not come to realization, a kind of parallel army. So that, this issue, I would say, should be looked at and analyzed more seriously.
How quickly could you see peace talks happening if both sides were willing to sit down with?
If there is a desire, as I have said, it can be done tomorrow. So if Ukraine will stop fighting and withdraw from this terrain. But in reality, of course, all of us understand how administration works. So it takes, after the inauguration day of the 20th of January, next year, it will be half a year for all these nominees will get a confirmation in Congress and all of that. And usually life in Washington starts half a year after the new year, next year. So that's.
And will Donald Trump and President Putin speak in the coming days and weeks?
I have said that according to our spokesman, Mr. Peskov, there are no plans so far to do this.
Ambassador, events closer to home, big election in the United Kingdom where you live this year, Keir Starmer coming in as a leader of a Labour government. Just give me your impressions of Starmer and his first few months in power.
No, I wouldn't say it is appropriate for the Russian ambassador to make a judgment about the prime minister in the country where I'm working and assigned. But what I'm seeing right now is that his plans, internal plans, of course, to bolster economics, has not been met with applause by the population and inside the country. His popularity is now lowering, is going down. As from the point of foreign policy, I can say that initially he didn't make hawkish statements about Russia, Ukraine, but in the recent days, after certain criticism that he has got, he of course pressing this point that all Western countries, including UK, should increase military capabilities, should provide more help for Ukraine, more assistance, and all of that. It only brings me to a conclusion that he do not realize the real situation, that things are going now a different way.
Ambassador, just as we reach the end of our conversation, tell me, the war in Gaza, how does Russia view what Israel has done to the people of Gaza this past year?
Well, I can say that nothing can justify, of course, what has happened on the 7th of October last year, Hamas against Israel being outside this attack, but nothing also can justify the collective punishment of Palestinians over there. We know that 4,000 civilians has died already. It is twice as much as in Ukraine during all since 2014, during 10 years of it. So it is, the cipher is incredible, and we know that 70% of these are women and children. So this is terrible, what is happening over there. It should be stopped as quick as possible, of course. But the only solution is that it should be returned to overall settlement of a Middle East crisis, including the two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. Palestine should live in the borders that has been that it has had since 1967. Yes.
And Russia would like to play its part in a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing peace?
We are trying to be active. But at the moment, United States decided to monopolize its all roles and to intervene only itself. And Security Council at the moment is a bit sort of paralyzed because the US is all the time promising that next day they will settle it with Israel. Next day they will settle. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Now it is clear, I think, for everybody, but still there is no much of a room for other countries to intervene. We cannot return to the normal format that includes United Nations, European Union, US and Russia, that has been effective for many years. Not at the moment, it is only US that are trying to take all the place in the negotiations.
Ambassador, just finally, as we head towards 2025, do you think next year is the year we will see peace in Ukraine and peace in Gaza?
I hope very much that the new year, 2025, of course, will be more prosperous and will be more interesting from the point of view of politics than the previous one.
Ambassador Kelin, thanks for your time on Roundtable.
Thank you very much for that.